everyone, Alex here with Off the Cuff Reviews. I am back again to bring you guys a special new video. This time we're going to be talking about the movie Tenet, which is my most anticipated film of all 2020. So let's get into it. So it is freezing and it is raining, which is why I have my North Face jacket on, and I'm running out of daylight. It's only 4 p.m. I'm running out of daylight because it's just cloudy and rainy and shitty out. So I'm trying to film this real quick because I'm also doing a vlog series, which I just started, and I'm trying to get that in before daylight also ends. So let's get into it. First, Tenet is a 2020 film made by Mr. Christopher Nolan. He released this film in theaters despite there being a pandemic going on. He is sticking to his guns about wanting to release films in the theater specifically because that's what he likes. He doesn't want his films really being seen anywhere else. Now, that view is pretty controversial, but his films are an experience. I get where he's coming from. His films are an experience. You have to go to the theater to get that full immersive experience into his film. Although, Tenet is one of those movies that you probably could see at home, to be honest with you. Here's why. Tenet is a big, grand production, but it doesn't really feel like it. It doesn't feel like it. Some of the scenes where, the huge explosions happen, they seem almost forced in there. They seem like he kind of just, got this huge budget and did all these practical effects. The huge budget is for the practical effects, obviously, but he takes that and it's almost like he forced it in there. He doesn't really need to do that every single time, but he did. And that's fine. He can do whatever he wants. He's a filmmaker. And he's my favorite filmmaker. And here's the thing. Tenet was still a good movie. Overall, I don't really have many complaints about it. If this was made by a younger filmmaker who doesn't have many credits to his name, I probably wouldn't be as critical of it. Most of us wouldn't be as critical of it. Most of us would probably think this movie was fantastic if this was made by somebody else. But since it's Christopher Nolan, and not only does the media and everyone else hype him up, he hypes himself up. This man will literally go and do an interview and blast how amazing his films are and how you have to see them in the theater and this and that. And sometimes they don't live up to the hype. And guess what? I think Tenet was one of them. Although I didn't see it until after everyone else had already made the reviews. Some of the reviews were just kind of thrown on me. I tried to avoid them, but some of them were thrown on me. And I noticed that a lot of them were mixed. Some of them were kind of bad. Some of them were kind of good. Most of them were kind of in the middle. And I think that's where I am. This film stars Robert Pattinson, John David Washington, I believe, Elizabeth Debicki. I think they all gave fantastic performances. I'm not going to give too much of the plot. In fact, I'm not going to talk about the plot at all. If you want to learn about the plot, go ahead and read it. I just don't want to spoil anything because that's who I am. I wouldn't want this movie spoiled for me. But here's the thing. Yeah, they all gave great performances. The directing was great. Everything was pretty good, but I think that the story and the way that everything was crafted, it just felt like it was lacking in the sense of the fact that most people, including Nolan, was hyping this movie. We're hyping this movie up as if it was, it was going to be his best movie to date. I didn't even have that feeling when I saw that first teaser trailer. When I saw that first teaser trailer, I think I was seeing a movie in the theater and it played before, and I said, ooh, as soon as I saw that, as soon as I saw it, for 3 seconds, I was like, this is going to be a Christopher Nolan movie. And then, of course it was. And of course we didn't know anything about it, and that's the way I like it. But then things start coming out about the movie. Things start coming out. People start posting production set set production, and they say, oh, well, here's this huge explosion that he had to pay for, and here's this and here's that. Bro, I don't want to know any of that. I don't want to know any of that. I don't want the media to tell us. I don't want people going out of their way to go to a set to film it and take pictures and post it online. Like, that's stupid. Well, dude, don't you have a job, first of all? Like, I don't know. That's a little bit of a side rant that I will probably go on another time. But I hate when people post things from the movie set and they talk about it and they ruin it. They spoil it before, like, anything is out about it. And it's like, dude, this is a movie that you don't want to spoil. This is like the one movie that you don't want to spoil, and you're fucking spoiling it. You're spoiling it for yourself, and you're spoiling it for everyone else. And it's stupid. Like, why would you want to do that? I don't know. Listen, I don't care usually about spoilers, but like a movie like that, like, why would you want to spoil anything about it? Whatever. That's a rant for another time. But getting back into the actual production of the movie, I think that some of the criticism about the sound is wrong. Now, I didn't see this in a theater. I can't say that I saw this in a theater because I didn't. I saw this at home. But the sound at home was fucking fantastic. I heard every line of dialogue. The score was not overbearing. Pretty much the score was great. I thought the sound mixing was great. I think that people's criticism of it is the fact that they are looking for something to criticize Nolan of, and they're criticizing the wrong thing. Why are you criticizing something that isn't even wrong? Yeah, maybe it's wrong, maybe it's bad in one of his other movies, but this is one that doesn't seem bad. Now, granted, when you mix sound for a theater, it's different from when you mix sound for a home release. Totally different. But if Nolan really has his hand in it, in the making that much, and he's forcing these sound designers to really mix the music and the audio in the theaters so it's so crazy that you can't even hear the dialogue, why wouldn't he carry that over to the home release? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't he have his hand in it to carry it over to the home release? That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's the case. I think you guys, I don't think that's the case. I think that it probably sounded fine in the theater, and that you guys are probably just looking for something to bitch about. And you're bitching about the wrong thing. There are flaws with this movie. There are flaws. How about the fact that, like, some of the scenes were so unnaturally filmed because he is a perfectionist. They would literally have a scene, like, specifically, here's one. There's a scene in the movie. This isn't a spoiler. There's a scene in the movie where Elizabeth Debicki's character meets the protagonist, and the protagonist says, "Hey, your child is cute," or something along those lines. And she turns to him and says, "He's everything." And that was so dramatically, he literally had a cut. They literally were filming it at a perfect angle, and then he cuts, and then you could tell that he had to film it he literally cut in another take and put it in there because it didn't feel natural to the scene. So you can tell that kind of stuff happens because he's like a perfectionist. He wants the perfect delivery on lines. So you can get that, but when you edit in a perfect delivery into a scene where it's not really perfect delivery, it's more natural, it comes off unnatural and shitty. And that happens so much throughout this movie. Not only this movie, I think it happens throughout Inception and Interstellar. Interstellar is my favorite film, but it happens throughout a lot of his films because he's a perfectionist. He wants that perfect delivery of the dialogue. But here's the thing. It comes off unnatural. And that's my main critique with this film, to be honest with you. It's also a little bit long. He probably could have ended it at 2 hours instead of 2.5 hours. There really wasn't an extra half hour that he needed to add in there. He probably could have cut some of it out. But that's neither here nor there. That's my own personal take on it. I felt like the movie could have ended at the 2 hour mark, but they added a whole bunch of extra shit that really didn't matter to the story. He was just making it longer for no reason. But those are my critiques about this film. I don't think the sound was bad. The sound sounded great, although I didn't see it in the theater. I don't know if it's different in the theater. I know that they mix it differently for theaters, but I don't know if it is different compared to the home release. But what I will say is that the home release sounded fantastic. So if I see anybody saying that they got the Blu-ray and it sounds bad, you're a fucking liar. You're a fucking liar. And anyone that's saying that is a fucking liar. They're literally, they don't know anything about sound. They're literally just picking apart a Nolan movie just to pick apart. Okay? And take that from me, who literally studied sound for like 3-4 years. I literally studied how sound works. I produce music. I produced post-production films and commercials. Sound for them. Yeah. I worked with Viacom. Viacom was one of our biggest clients. So here's the thing. Don't sit here and tell me that it sounds bad when you have no idea what it's supposed to sound like. Oh my gosh. Okay, so with all of that said, I'm going to give Tenet a B+. I wanted to give this an A because I really felt strongly about this movie. Like, I really was interested in it, but I don't think it lived up to my expectations, and I don't think it really lived up to most of our expectations, to be honest with you. Even Nolan's expectations. If you guys like any of this content, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Drop a comment below maybe. And I will see you next time. I have another video dropping maybe tonight as well. That one is going to be what I watched in November. There's a whole shitload of movies I have to talk about. Not really excited to edit it, but I'm excited to film it. So, without further ado, I bid you guys a farewell.